In April 2026, a mining truck rolled out of the Arcadia lithium mine on the outskirts of Harare, Zimbabwe, carrying something the world had not seen before, the first shipment of domestically processed lithium sulfate ever to leave the African continent. Not raw ore, not unprocessed concentrate, refined battery-grade material built for the electric vehicles and energy storage systems that every major economy on Earth is racing to manufacture. The truck was heading to China. The mine it came from was owned by a Chinese company, Zhejiang Huayu Cobalt, which had paid $422 million to acquire it in 2022 and then poured another $400 million into the processing plant that made this moment possible. And this single truck in this single month represented something much larger than a mineral shipment. It represented the end result of a strategy that China has been executing quietly and systematically in countries the rest of the world walked away from, sanctioned, or simply forgot existed. While Western governments were announcing sanctions lists and issuing statements about unstable regimes, China was sending engineers, signing contracts, and building things. And in 2025 and 2026, those things started arriving. Let's start with the numbers, because the numbers are genuinely shocking when you see them in one place. In 2025, China's total engagement in Belt and Road countries through construction contracts and investment reached $213.5 billion. That is 81% more than 2024 in construction contracts alone. Cumulatively, since the Belt and Road Initiative launched in 2013, China has deployed $1.4 trillion across 150 countries. $1.4 trillion. And the acceleration is not slowing down. The Green Finance and Development Center, which tracks this data, described 2025 as a record year and projects continued expansion through 2026 despite global economic headwinds and US-led trade disruptions. The headwinds are not stopping China. In some cases, they are accelerating it because every country that the United States sanctions or that Western investors abandon becomes a more attractive destination for Chinese capital and Chinese influence. Zimbabwe is the clearest current example of how this works at the mineral level. And the story of what has happened there since 2021 is one that the mainstream Western financial media has significantly underreported relative to its global significance. Zimbabwe holds Africa's largest lithium reserves. Lithium is the metal that powers every electric vehicle battery, every smartphone, and every large-scale energy storage system on the planet. China controls approximately 60% of the world's lithium refining capacity and 70% of global lithium-ion battery production. It needed raw materials. Zimbabwe had them. In 2021, Chinese companies began moving in. Zhejiang Huayu Cobalt, Sinomine Resource Group, Chengxin Lithium Group, and Yahua Group collectively invested more than $1.4 billion in acquiring and developing all 6 of Zimbabwe's active lithium mining operations. Every single active lithium mine in Zimbabwe has significant Chinese involvement. In 2025, Zimbabwe exported 1.13 million metric tons of lithium concentrate to China, accounting for approximately 15% of China's total lithium concentrate imports. By April 2026, the first processed lithium sulfate from African soil was leaving Harare for Chinese battery factories. Zimbabwe, a country that spent 2 decades under Western sanctions and watched its economy contract while the world looked away, is now embedded in the supply chain of every electric vehicle manufactured in China. And the question that nobody in the Western strategic community has adequately answered is whose strategic error was the sanctions policy, and whose strategic win was the patience that followed it. The infrastructure dimension of the Zimbabwe story reveals the second layer of how China operates in these markets, and it is the layer that generates the most discomfort when examined closely. In June 2026, Zimbabwe confirmed it is in advanced discussions with China Railway Group to finance road and rail infrastructure through future lithium revenues. The model is called resource-backed financing. China builds the roads, Zimbabwe repays the cost through guaranteed future mineral exports. It is the same model China has used in the Democratic Republic of Congo, in Angola, and across several other African mineral-rich states. The DRC Sycamines precedent, referenced explicitly in the development policy literature as a cautionary example, showed that resource-backed deals can generate significant infrastructure, but also lock in supply arrangements that disproportionately favour the Chinese party when commodity prices fall. Zimbabwe's government has acknowledged the risks and is insisting on enforceable milestone-linked disbursements and penalty clauses. Whether it succeeds in those negotiations against counterparts who have significantly more experience structuring these agreements is something that will only be visible in retrospect. The critical mineral story is not confined to Africa. The other transformation that has been almost entirely ignored in Western coverage of China's global economic positioning is what is happening in Afghanistan. Afghanistan sits on an estimated $1 trillion in untapped minerals, copper, iron, gold, lithium, and rare earth elements. The second largest copper deposit on the planet is located at a site called Mez Aynak, holding approximately 11.5 million tons. A Chinese state-owned company, MCC, signed a $3 billion 30-year deal for Mez Aynak in 2008. Then came 16 years of war, and the project sat frozen. In July 2024, Chinese engineers and Afghan workers formally broke ground, beginning with the road to the mine. By early 2026, China had deployed over $430 million into the project, employing around 400 Afghan workers, with projections that number will reach 4,000 once copper production begins at scale. Simultaneously, in Afghanistan's north, China signed a deal to begin extracting oil from the Amu Darya fields, one of the first real energy extraction operations on Afghan soil in decades. The Wakhan corridor is the detail that makes the Afghanistan picture geopolitically significant rather than merely commercially interesting. This is a thin strip of territory in Afghanistan's far northeast that physically touches China. For most of modern history, it was effectively sealed. In 2026, a road is being cut through it, the first direct land link between Afghanistan and China. Once complete, Afghan goods will be able to move directly into Chinese markets without passing through any intermediary country. In the context of a country with $1 trillion of minerals underground and no developed export infrastructure, a direct land route to the world's largest consumer of minerals is not a minor logistics improvement. It is a structural shift in who controls the economic future of Afghan mineral wealth. The Iran picture is complicated in ways the reference script does not fully acknowledge, and it is worth being precise about what is verified versus what is overstated. The 2025 data tells a story that is more nuanced than the narrative of China as Iran's indispensable partner. China's total trade with Central Asian countries surrounding Iran exceeded $100 billion for the first time in 2025. Its investment in Kazakhstan alone, Iran's northern neighbor, reached $25.8 billion, representing a 375% increase on the previous year. Meanwhile, China's investment in Iran itself remained minimal. The $400 billion comprehensive cooperation agreement signed in 2021 has produced, in practice, very little actual capital deployment. The main economic relationship between the two countries is oil. By 2025, China was importing approximately 1 million barrels of Iranian oil per day, down from the earlier peak of 1.38 million barrels as Chinese teapot refineries scaled back purchases in the second half of the year. Iran gets a buyer for oil it cannot sell elsewhere. China gets discounted energy. That exchange is real and significant, but it is a transactional relationship rather than the transformative partnership that Iranian officials and some Western analysts have described it as. What is accurate about Iran is the domestic resilience picture. Iran has become the 13th largest car manufacturer on earth, producing over 1 million vehicles annually through a hybrid model of domestic platforms and Chinese supplied components. brands, including Sherry and Great Wall, entered through licensing and local assembly arrangements. Chinese telecommunications companies, including Huawei and ZTE, supplied network infrastructure that keeps Iran's 4G mobile economy functioning, while preparations for 5G continue under Chinese technical guidance. Iran's domestic e-commerce platform Digicala, founded in Tehran in 2006, now operates as the largest digital marketplace in the country and one of the biggest in the Middle East, processing millions of orders across a domestic market cut off from Amazon, eBay, and international payment systems. This is what economic isolation at scale actually looks like when a country has the population, the industrial base, and the external partnerships to sustain it. The overarching pattern across Zimbabwe, Afghanistan, and Iran is the same. A country faces Western sanctions or post-conflict isolation. Western capital and institutions withdraw. China arrives not with altruism, but with a calculation. It calculates what the country has underground, what infrastructure it needs to extract and transport that resource, and what the long-term supply arrangement is worth. It then builds the infrastructure, secures the supply agreement, and embeds itself in the country's economic architecture in ways that are very difficult to reverse once they are established. This is not a conspiracy. It is a foreign policy strategy that China has been executing consistently for 15 years. Documented openly in its 5-year plans and in the Belt and Road Initiative's published frameworks, and that the Western world has consistently failed to match with a comparable institutional response. The G7's Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment had mobilized $60 billion toward comparable projects by mid-2024 against China's cumulative $1.4 trillion. The arithmetic of who is winning the competition for influence in the countries the West sanctions, abandons, or forgets is not ambiguous. It is visible in the mines of Zimbabwe on the road to Mes Aynak, and in the quarterly crude oil import data that keeps China's economy moving at prices that no sanctioned seller of Iranian oil has any other customer willing to pay.